Welcome to First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast. I'm your host, James Gardner, certified athletic therapist, certified strength and conditioning specialist, yoga instructor, human being. This platform, for the pros, by the pros, anybody in the performance space, and beyond. Welcome here to share in the stories of professionals, experiences, journeys, learning along the way. It's a platform to connect, to network, and to be a part of a community that cares, with conversations that matter, experiences that resonate, and generate ideas, thought-provoking, organic dialogue, passionate pros. Brought to you as always by First Star Therapy, Mobility Tape, Epic, and Benchmark Athletics, in association with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association. It's First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. All right, here we go. This is Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast, the official podcast of WFATT. And this is a new series, a series based on the 2023 WFATT Impact Award winners. We have 5 winners, and there is no better starting point with baseball season kicking off this morning than to celebrate the award winner, Mr. Rick Griffin. The nominators here are Ron Porterfield and Larry Starr. There is an abundance of knowledge and wisdom and obviously stories and relationships in the room. So quickly with your bios before we jump into the conversation and where the nomination came from. And Rick, as always, pleasure to see you again and have you on board, and congratulations on the award for 2023. I'll start with the nominators. Ron Porterfield, he's entering his 6th year as Director of Player Health with the Los Angeles Dodgers, after serving the previous 12 years as the head athletic trainer for the Tampa Bay Rays, and 3 years prior to that, the assistant for that same team. He's also the president-elect of PBATS. Larry Starr is the president of Starr Athletic Solutions and serves as the lead ATC injury spotter with the NFL. He's well known for his vision and the creation of the entire sports medicine element of Nova Southeastern University Athletics, embedding the concept of the sports medicine interdisciplinary team there. He also served as the head athletic trainer for the Florida Marlins from 1993 to 2001, and the Cincinnati Reds for 21 years prior to that. Our award winner, Mr. Rick Griffin, a returning guest, always a pleasure to have on board and to get to know your relationship with Larry and Ron here and go from there. Rick was named the Mariners head athletic trainer in Seattle in 1983 and served in that same capacity for 35 years until 2016. He was then given the title of Mariners athletic trainer emeritus for the next 3 years, overseeing medical aspects of the Major League Baseball draft for the Mariners until his retirement in 2019. He's made 25 trips to Japan with Major League Baseball teams and has been an advisor to the Japanese teams and trainers in Japan over the last 3 decades. He also served as a trainer at an all-star game in each of the last 4 decades. A wealth of experience and knowledge, Rick continues to contribute to the AT profession globally through numerous channels, including through PBATS, and just returning from London with some interviews with students. So Rick, Larry, Ron, welcome aboard. I think I'll throw it over to you, Larry. You have taken credit for a little bit of Ron's success, whether he agrees or not. But Larry, over to you in terms of your relationship with Rick.
Yeah, I've known this young man a long time, and I get criticized by Mr. Griffin for taking credit for his success overall. I happen to be the head trainer at Cincinnati Reds, was looking for a minor league trainer out in Oregon on our rookie league team out there. And so I hired Mr. Griffin. Now, the reason he criticizes my ability to take credit for his success is because I basically hired Rick without seeing him, interviewing him, knowing anything about him, except what Dr. Peterson, a surgeon or a physician of ours, had told me, and there was no doubt in Dr. Peterson's mind this guy would do a good job for you. So bottom line, I'm still going to take credit for it because I put him, I got him started somewhere. He needed a team. I gave him a team, and he took it from there. And I couldn't have been so lucky to have an individual of his status with his knowledge, skills, his energy levels, and his commitment to baseball and to athletic training. And so either way, I'm going to take credit for it, whether he likes it or not. And I know he's done an incredible job at both in professional baseball, but internationally. I can't think of a better candidate for this award.
Absolutely.
So,
Rick, you have a rebuttal there?
just a little one. The reason I always tease Larry is because a gentleman from the Cincinnati Reds called me up. His name was Chief Bender, and he was the minor league farm director. And he interviewed me over the phone for about 3 minutes, and he was looking for an athletic trainer to work in Eugene. And I told him I was 22 years old and I was certified and I had a master's degree. And he said, "You're hired," but I have to clear it with Larry Starr. And I didn't know who Larry Starr was at the time, but he goes, "Well, you're hired, but I got to clear with Larry." And then I got a call back the next day. I guess Larry had talked to Dr. Peterson. And so I got hired. And the reason I tease Larry is because I was in the minor leagues for 4 years and I never heard from him. And then I ultimately got to the big leagues one day, and I opened up the PBATS confidential directory in the PBATS media guide, and I looked at Larry had claimed that he had mentored me, and that's one of the reasons that I got to the big leagues was because of his mentoring. So I think it was because I never heard from him for 4 years, and I always wanted him to do really well, so that when I finally got a chance to meet him, that he would be impressed with me. And when I did meet him, we became fast friends, and I teased him right from the get-go. And we used to go to a lot of seminars together and spend a lot of time together. We used to go on a lot of long runs together. And he's been extremely influential and been a great mentor to me, particularly with PBATS, because I was really young when I was hired. And he kind of went through the same thing I did. He was hired, very young and got pushed right into the job. And I was hired very young and pushed in the job. So we had a lot in common, but he really was a great mentor to me. But I do like to bust his chops whenever I can.
As you do, mentoring from a distance, maybe
Yes,
a
you do.
team here. It's each one of you holds a place, on our end, and for our listeners.
See, here's the thing now. Here's the thing about that. If I didn't call him for 4 years, that shows you what a great job he did. Because I was spending all my other free time with my other athletic trainers who couldn't figure out how to be both an athletic trainer and a clubhouse manager in the minor league at the same time. In fact, most of them would quit, if they found out, well, if I'm going to be a minor league athletic trainer back there, then I'm going to have to learn how to polish shoes and do laundry and all that. And I said, well, yeah, you might have to do that, but you're getting paid $20 a month or a week, whatever it was. What the heck, suck it up, and they might try it for a year and then they quit. But Rick, I never had any problem with him. I just stayed out of his way, and bingo, big leagues.
There we go.
Shaped him nicely, and anybody who knows Rick, I think anybody who's met him, anybody who's listened to him on this podcast in the past, really relatable and obviously passionate and compassionate within what he does. Ron, I'll throw it over to you in terms of your relationship with Rick, and then we can jump into, obviously the nomination comes from a long time and a lot of dedicated work in the area, and Rick, what the award means to you. But Ron Porterfield with the LA Dodgers, your relationship with Rick and where this came from your side.
Sure. When I had spent 15 years in the minor league, so I didn't really know what was going on as far as the winter meetings were concerned or anything. But I remember my first winter meetings in 2002, and I sat there in awe into everything that was involved. There was a gentleman, which was Rick, that kind of just, he spoke pretty candidly, but he was kind of mentoring to the entire group and kind of brought on a passion and a want and a desire of what we wanted us as a society, and paving the way for basically athletic trainers on, where was our place at the table with Major League Baseball. And so I kind of started looking up to that. And as we traveled to, Seattle He was always so hospitable, coming over, making sure we were doing okay. I mean, I was pretty young at the time. Just making sure that if there was anything we need when we did have situations. I mean, he'd call over, come over to our side and make sure things were handled appropriately. And then as I got more involved, he kind of pushed me to get better and step up and lead to some degree. And I just felt like, these guys stepped up for me, so it was my turn to step up and help people below me as well. And he gave me that push to get involved with the executive board and PBATs and things of that nature. Then that helped me to really realize everything that as athletic trainers in Major League Baseball we're involved with. And when I saw the involvement that he had on the international front and what he brought to us as a group on the world front, that was inspiring, and it just made me want to say, like, how do you say no to anything that he would ask of me to do, whether it was taking on students or getting involved in various committees or anything of that nature. So that's what kind of inspired me and what drove me, and he had a big hand in helping shape and model me in my career.
Yeah, Rick, obviously you've had great impact with Larry, with Ron, and with numerous other people, across the globe and in this profession. Getting nominated, receiving the award, the Impact Award from WFATT. Where does that sit with you? How does that sit with you at this point in your career? And what does it mean, I guess, at this point?
Well, it means a lot to me because I've really taken it upon myself to try to improve athletic training worldwide, and to be able to reach out to these two gentlemen, particularly Ron, when Ron was the president. I don't think Ron ever said no to anything that I ever asked him, and everything that we did together, whether it was going to London or Japan to put on sports medicine seminars. PBATS was the first sports society or athletic training group that ever put on an international sports medicine program. And we did that in London. We did that in Japan. We're actually negotiating right now to put another one on in Japan. And when Ron was the president, we really expanded our international presence by adding schools in Ireland and the UK. And I mean, your first thought is, why does Ireland and the UK want to know about baseball? And the way this started was one of the professors over there found out what we were doing in Japan, and they felt there was a huge void in their educational training, particularly at the collegiate level, that when they got out in the real world, they didn't really know or understand a lot of what was going on with the upper extremity. And so this lady, her name was Mary Dowling from Carlow University in Carlow, Ireland. She reached out to me and said that she really wanted to try to get her students involved because she wanted them to learn more about the upper extremity injuries, diagnosis, return to play programs and throwing programs. And so we started with that university. And then a couple of years later, a couple of universities in Ireland, in England, they reached out to me. And every time that this happened, I would go to Ron as our president, or the president prior to Ron. But it really picked up with Ron, and then Ron would present all this information to the board. And so we just kept expanding. And now this year we might take between 16 and 20 students from the UK and Ireland and place them with the athletic training students that we have in Major League Baseball. And this program would not work without those guys being involved, those guys and gals being involved at the minor league level and taking these students. Those students spend a month with them. And when they go back to their respective countries, they know more about upper extremity care and management than anybody in their country, because every year they're learning the new concepts. And so I always tell them, when you go home, you're going to be smarter than anybody about upper extremities. And I was just over there just recently, and I got to see quite a few of the students that I'd had before that had come over here to the States. And I mean, they use words like life-changing and motivating, and provided me with an opportunity to learn leadership and watch athletic trainers, how they lead in the training room. And that really makes me feel proud, and it makes me feel good that we're having such an impact. PBATS is having such an impact on these young students' lives. And that's why this meant a lot to me, because it's impactful to me, because I feel that we have done a great job of promoting athletic training everywhere we've gone, and we continue to do so. And we're getting more requests. We're getting bigger. As long as the PBATS board is willing to keep, stepping forward, and I don't kick over, we'll keep going. So, but it was great to have these two gentlemen on my side and write letters of recommendation on my behalf. Means a lot, because WFAT in the last few years has really grown and meant a lot to me, because we're now doing more international stuff in a different and larger vein in the world.
Yeah, and certainly leading the way through PBATS, the Professional Baseball Athletic Trainers Society. Just for those listening, all members all have involvement in PBATS, obviously through your time in minor league and Major League Baseball. And the other thing that jumps out, obviously, you have a great relationship between the three of you. You know each other. You have lots of stories from your time, together or in opposing dugouts, these types of things. But all of you have had long careers in sort of one place. Not an easy task in professional sports, being able to sort of stick it out through management changes and administrative changes and different players and different times and all kinds of things within baseball, a fairly traditional sport. Rick, maybe I'll start with you, and then Larry and Ron, feel free to jump in. But not an easy thing to do. What are some of the secrets to success of longevity in one place? I mean, A, from an personal interest level to stay in one place, and then B, to be able to sort of, navigate that over years and years in one organization.
I've had this conversation a lot with a lot of people, and I think particularly in baseball, because there are a lot of changes at the managerial level, the general manager level, coaches level. You have to be a great communicator. You have to be able to read people. But I think the most important skill set is you have to have the ability to adapt, and you have to understand that you are doing things the way they want them done. I had a close friend of mine, and these guys know who I'm probably talking about. He had been in an organization for quite a long time, and they got a new manager, and the first day, and we talked about this after, he went and told the manager the way he does things. And at the end of the year, he wasn't there. And I learned very early that you do not tell the manager how you do things. You ask the manager how he wants things done. And then you build a relationship with him based on how he wants things done. And you prove to him that you're capable of doing the things he wants done in the way he wants them done. And if you do that and you adapt, I think you have a really good chance to have a long career. And I also think Jimmy Warfield told me my very first year, he said, if you want to have a long career in baseball, you need to do two things: keep your mouth shut and work your butt off. And that's true. And I've said those things also. But both Larry, I, and Ron have been fortunate to work with a team or a couple of teams for a pretty long period of time. And for me to be able to work for the Mariners for 38 years, even though 3 or 4 times I could have gone other places, I ended up staying where I felt comfortable and where I enjoyed what I did and loved what I did. So I think adapting and communicating are definitely the two most important things.
Larry or Ron, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I'll second everything he said. Obviously, maybe I was a little unique in that I was so young. I will tell you this: I followed a situation that wasn't hard to beat. I always go back to the great basketball coach John Wooten. When he graduated from college and he decided to have his first head job at the high school level, he picked a team that was either had lost every game or had won no more than 1 or 2 games. That's what he was looking for, because he said to himself, if I win 3 games, I've just improved that team. So I was fairly lucky in that it wasn't that hard to impress people. I mean, when I had my first spring training day, I had a player walk in, jump on the table, and ask me to tape his ankle, and I taped his ankle, and he went nuts. He thought, "How'd you do that? Why didn't it have any wrinkles?" And so I was just I was lucky in a way, and it goes back that I had great mentorship. I had great training. I was very lucky between my junior and senior year. I was named the assistant athletic trainer at a D1 school at Ohio University. The assistant trainer left to go to Cleveland State. The head trainer, Al Hart, came to me and said, Larry, I'm going to make you my full-time assistant. I said, Al, I'm only a senior. I don't have a degree yet. I got 18 more hours to take. He said, I don't care. You're gonna be my assistant. I've seen you work for 3 years here. I know what you can do. I know your energy level. I know how you get along with the staff and the players. He said, we only have one little caveat to it. He said, because you don't have a degree, we can't call you the assistant athletic trainer. But President Alden has agreed to still hire you and call you the assistant to the athletic trainer. So that got me the job. But yeah, and I agree totally with Rick. Yeah, you have to be, you have to be kind of Teflon. You got to take a lot of crap, knowing it's probably, let's face it, there's some people in our game aren't real smart. They might be even great coaches, but that doesn't make them smart. And so to try to deal with that whole attitude and personalities and so forth. And again, I was lucky. I couldn't have picked a better manager than Sparky Anderson to be my first manager. He treated me like I was had 10 years in the big leagues. He never questioned anything I asked him to do. And sometimes I would say, and I can give you a handful of examples where I would say, hey, so-and-so's ready to return to play. Let's give him a couple more days to make sure. How many managers would say that? Most managers would say, when is that son of a, gun going to get back on the field? And of course, and then basically that's what happened when my new owner took over in Cincinnati. I would have stayed in Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati's a great town. I got a house back there now. My wife and I ended up buying a house back there because our two daughters moved back to Cincinnati. But unfortunately, it was a relationship with an owner who just destroyed me. She took everything away. She would not give me new equipment. I asked her to get a new ultrasound machine. You know what her response was? Well, don't you ever oil it? How do you? It's not a car, Marge. And the other reason I got it is because Rob Dibble, one of my relief pitchers, would not pitch without using ultrasound. And I had a mecha sonorator that was there since 1968. And this is 1990. I have no idea if this thing is working. It probably isn't. And I knew it wasn't working when I'm doing an ultrasound machine on Dibble. And he goes, what the hell's going on? I said, what's the matter? I look over the machine, it's smoking. There's smoke coming out of it because the transistor tubes had exploded. So anyhow, that's the reason I had to leave Cincinnati. The lady just, I was ready to get out of the game. I was done because I was totally, my wife said, you either do change or we're getting a divorce. That's how bad of a person I had become coming home every night and being ticked off. But I got lucky again. I was playing tennis with my former general manager, Murray Cook. He said, hey, how would you like to be the head trainer of the Marlins? I said, Murray, I'm done. I'm burned out. He said, don't base it on what happened the last 9 years with Marge Shaw, because he knew her. Said, realize now, you're not going to Marge Shaw, you're going to Wayne Huizenga. And Wayne Huizenga is going to give you a blank check. And that's exactly what he did. So it was a great transition for me. It was a big change coming to Florida, but Rick's absolutely right. You gotta be very, I don't know what that meant. Did you hear that, James? Okay, came back. So anyhow, my career is unbelievable. I was so lucky and being in the right place at the right time. The Cincinnati Reds organization was a great organization in the 70s when I joined them. I had great support in Florida. the ownership there, and we got lucky and won another World Series there. But you know, I will say this: my relationship with P-Bats created a dimension in me that I never had. I didn't consider myself a very good administrator from a standpoint of how to deal with other people, because I was by myself in Cincinnati for 19 years. But being the secretary with PBATS, it really helped me seeing how other people worked, how other people thought, how could I handle a position of being on a board. That kind of sounded foreign to me. And luckily for the great support we got from our great presidents and Charlie Moss and Jeff Cooper and Kent Biggerstaff, all those guys, you know, and then with the mentorship I got from Dave Percy. Dave Percy was the nicest of all the athletic trainers when I came into the big leagues. There's a couple that hated me. You know, here's this 24-year-old kid walking off the college campus, and I go into the Cubs, and I go over and I see Al Schuleman, who had been 20 years in the big leagues and never had a postseason play, and I'm going to a World Series the first year. I mean, he looked at me like I was going to steal something in his room. And but Dave took me under his wing. He said, "Hey, don't worry about that BS. You know, do your job and take it from there." And then the other relationships that I developed over here with Jeff Cooper and Kent Biggerstaff and of course Griffin and even Ron now, even though I've been out of the game for 20 years, I feel so lucky to know those guys and to see what they have done with PBATS and with international. That's why it's a no-brainer for me that Rick gets this award. I mean, he was way ahead of the NATA. NATA had no ideas about international, experience and seminars with athletic trainers, but they saw what it could be, and Rick Griffin's the reason for that.
Yeah, great captures. Really appreciate the insight and obviously ahead of the curve, all of you in some form or facet. Ron, I'll throw it over to you just in terms of, longevity and how that bodes or how you've been successful in longevity in your career. I think that also, contributes to Rick's nomination and also acceptance of the award, being able to stay in one place, not an easy thing. But from your side, Ron, your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I ditto everything that Larry said. I mean, I watched these guys from afar. They were one-man shows in the big leagues. They didn't have an assistant. Rick, I don't think you had an assistant at the very beginning. They did it by
I didn't have one
themselves.
for 9 years, so I
So,
know.
Kudos to them for being able to even do that. And I don't know if there's enough hours in the day, but I was very fortunate to be around a lot of people that grew me. And I've been able to, I think, last as long as I have because I've stayed below the shrapnel, if you will. But my dad always taught me, he said, keep your ears and eyes open and shut your mouth. And so I lived by that. He also told me that if they ask you to do something, don't ever say you can't do it. Do it. Just tell them, yes, I can do it. He had learned that when he was a college football player. And he said it was the biggest mistake I ever made was saying I couldn't do it when they asked him to play a different position. And he changed that tune really quick. So it's something that sunk in with me. But I think it inspired me to not just want to be good, but I wanted to be great. And not to say that I've had a great career, which I feel myself, I've had a great career, but I've always had that desire to want to be great, not just good. And I wanted to give back not only to the individuals that are following me, but also to the mentors and the individuals that have come before me. And when we talk about PBATs and seeing what all these gentlemen, Larry was, he was one of the founding fathers, and what they went through to establish PBATs, how can you not want to continue that and continue to grow it? And when they come back and see what we've done and they tell you did a good job, then that means a lot. So it really does. And that's all you can hope for. I've also, I think, lasted a while just because tried to lead by example. And, if I've been in the game for 36 years, but I'm still afraid to clean a whirlpool or sweep the floor or empty the trashes, then I shouldn't be in this. There's no difference between me and our rookie ball athletic trainer. We're colleagues. We're on the same level. I just have more experience. That's it. We're in the same boat. They can teach me a lot more coming out of school now, and I can teach them things that I've learned. So I always try to look at that. Definitely not afraid of criticism, making mistakes. I've made a lot of them. And I tell individuals coming in that I'm only afraid of the mistakes that they don't make because they don't try. I'd rather them make those mistakes, just try not to make them more than once. And my big thing that I live by is, and try to tell other individuals, especially members of the staff that I'm with, is at the end of the day, if you look in the mirror, can you honestly answer the question, did I help everybody that I came in contact with to the best of my abilities? If the answer is yes, it was a great day. And they're not all going to be great. But you can turn around the next day and try to make the next day better. And then leave everything there and try not to take it in the house. It's tough when you're in the major leagues because your phone doesn't shut off. It's nonstop. But, a lot of our coordinators, a lot of our minor league athletic trainers, hopefully they can shut that down and prevent themselves from burning out, if you will. And if you look at the award that Rick has earned, there was that never-ending inspiration to get better and try to grow this thing. And that's what he's done on the international front. And that's why he's been so deserving of this award. So I'm extremely proud of him and happy to have been part of his career, and as well as Larry's. So I appreciate being here today.
Yeah, I appreciate all your time. And obviously there's a ton of greatness in this room. Ron, you're sitting in the training room, obviously, over there in spring training, getting ready for the season, or as the season started this morning. But I don't know, guys, like trailblazers in the sport, but also, using the sport to lead the profession as a whole, trailblazing international support, international endeavors, and this desire for, Ron, as you captured, Larry, as you captured in your way, and certainly Rick in the times that we've overlapped, a desire for greatness and to give back, not only to the sport and the profession, but to everybody around you. So listen, on behalf of myself and WFATT and all of our listeners, thank you for your time. Don't want to let this go on too long, but would love to do it again, maybe mid-season. Ron, if you get a break, Larry, at any time, would love to hear the stories of how you launched Rick's career. And Rick, as always, man, anytime, it's always a pleasure. As the Impact Award winner for 2023 from WFATT, Rick, I'll leave it with you for some closing words, wherever you want to take it. But guys, really appreciate this and showcasing your relationship, your dedication to the profession. It's only going to spark intrigue for our listeners and certainly for me. So thank you all once again for your time, your space, your energy. And Rick, I'll leave it to you to close it out.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank these two gentlemen who are not only dear friends, but both these gentlemen I respect, and I've learned so much from both of them. And for them to be a part of me receiving this award, that makes it even more special. But the World Federation of Athletic Trainers and Therapists is growing internationally. We were in Israel last year. We're going to be going back to Ireland next year. So it's an exciting time for international athletic training, and to be able to be a part of that and see the growth. And when you see the excitement on these young students' face when they learn new things and hear new things and get a chance to do something special, that's what makes this all worthwhile. So I'm honored to receive this award, and very thankful that these two gentlemen were a part of me receiving it. And thanks to you for having us all together and be able to talk a little bit. And hopefully we can do it again someday. Thank you.
All right, we'll do it again. This is Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast, the official podcast of WFATT. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. And remember, you can always do better. You can always do great, and you can always give back. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great afternoon.
All right.
Thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this community. Check us out online, firststartherapy.com. That's FIRSTAR therapy.com. Or email us with feedback, consult@firststartherapy.com, CONSULT@firststartherapy.com, on Instagram @firststar.therapy, and our podcast host @letschat.therapy. This is First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast.